They say never. I say never tell me what to do. A person will never put you in a position above them. That's never a lie, always true. Success never comes without risk, and risk never comes without fear. YouTube is a smoke and mirror, never how it appear. Hey, welcome to the Truckology 101 channel. I'm Icewater815. On this channel, I upload videos about the trucking industry to try to give people information so they can actually be successful and make it in trucking, whether it's getting a CDL license or running a trucking company. And something interesting happened that I got to share with y'all before we get into today's video. A well-known data analyst company, they reached out to me about coming on their show and talking about the market. They had seen my videos that I was doing about the market updates. And I was like, oh, this cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't never really had a person like me on there. So I'm like, I bet. I shoot them my fee to come on their show. They was like, oh, we not paying you to come on the show. I'm not coming on the show then. And my fee was $2,500. I felt like I gave them a discounted rate, whatever, you know, but they pretty much told me I wasn't worth $2,500. I said all that to say this. This is my market update video, and this video gonna be a little different. I'm gonna show them and y'all why I'm worth $2,500. See, on this channel here, I ain't got no fancy whiteboards to woo you with. I may not be the prettiest, but what I got up here, it'll help you print some money. And I think that's what it's all about here in trucking. So with that being said, if you stick with me to the end of this video, it's gonna change your whole perspective over trucking. I ain't got no whiteboard, but what I got is these note cards right here, so I make sure that I don't forget nothing. So what, this is September 2023, and we just gonna get right to it. And I'm gonna show y'all that when it come down to talking about the trucking industry, analyzing it, looking at what's going on, I'm on a whole nother level than anybody else. And $2,500 was a discount. Y'all done woke up a sleeping giant. Let me crack the window, because it's gonna get hot in here. Let me crack the window. Let's go on and get started, man. We ain't gonna waste no time. So the first thing I got to do is I got to remind y'all that the trucking industry is a service industry. Like, we service people. And what you need to know about this industry, or what you should be aware of, is every 20 to 24 months, something happened in the industry. It's a valley, it's a peak, every 20, 24 months. Ain't nobody talking like this on YouTube. Ain't nobody talking like this at all. But I also got to remind you about what happened with the supply chain. Because remember, like, it was some issues with the supply chain starting in China, then it went to Europe, and then it hit the US. And what we experiencing right now in the trucking industry is the correction to the overreaction of the supply chain issues that we had when the pandemic hit. Now, truth be told, I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. We had supply chain issues before the pandemic. They just never was addressed, and they actually still ain't being addressed. But that's for a whole nother video. So let me get that out the way. Now we got that out the way. Now that we on the same page about what trucking is and about how we got where we are right now in trucking, let's do this. Let's make sure we understand that the foundation of trucking is supply and demand. Stay with me. Stay with me. I know you done heard it all through trucking, but stay with me, please. See, a lot of the analysts that come on YouTube and do videos, they base their talks, they base their predictions around tender rejections and available capacity, meaning the equipment. And for me, I can't really come on here and base my talk and my information off that, because I honestly, the real reason why, I don't know where that information come from. If I can't verify the information, I don't want to give it to y'all. I don't. I'm not that type of person. I'm not on here to act like I'm smarter than somebody else. I learn something new about the trucking industry every day. I constantly learn about the trucking industry. That's why I'm so good at what I do. That's why people pay me to say they trucking company. That's why I consult for people. I consult for companies, because I constantly learn about logistics, every part of it. Not just driving the truck, not just fixing the truck, every part of it. Got that out the way. See, the other analysts base their videos on what has happened in the prior week. I was there, like we was there as people in the trucking industry, so we know what has happened. That's kind of like, in my opinion, what they're doing, which is levels to this. That's why it's levels. Listen, what they doing is they following the ambulance. To me, that's an ambulance chaser. I'm not an ambulance chaser. See, I'm different. I teach you what to look for, so you could be the one calling 911 instead of going behind the ambulance. It's that simple. See, they pay attention to what other people are saying. I pay attention to what they're not saying. It's levels. I'm different. See, they listen to what I'm telling you. They pay attention to what's being said. I pay attention to what's not being said. See, they relay information. I relay education. It's levels. And they told me I wasn't worth $2,500. It's levels. Stay with me here. Stay with me. See, they tell you how to react to what has happened. I tell you how to prepare for what is about to happen. It's levels. I'm different. I'm different. See, they get their information from Google. I sell my information to Google scholars. They tell you to gather the scraps that's left over. I tell you how to make the kill. It's levels. I'm different. I'm different. They tell you how to run harder. I tell you how to run smarter. I'm different. It's levels. It's levels. A lot of the stuff the other analysts, they repeat, they don't even understand it. And I surely hope they don't believe it. It's levels to analyzing trucking. And I'm on a very high level, and I don't see no neighbors. And in this video, I'm going to prove to you I'm on a whole nother level. I'm on a whole nother level. I'm going to give you my take on the industry, and you ain't going to hear this. When you hear this somewhere else, you know they got it from me. When I'm gone, they going to study my bones after this video. All because they didn't want to give me that little $2,500. My fee going to go up after this video. See, what makes me different in this trucking space is I research the biggest factor that moves the needle between supply and demand. Ain't no other way to put. I research the biggest factor that moves the needle between supply and demand. That's what makes me unique. That's what makes me worth $2,500. That's what puts me on this, puts them here and me here. I understand that the biggest factor in supply and demand is consumer spending. You're not going to hear, they're not talking like this on them other channels. The more people spend, the more demand. It's that simple. It's easy. It's easy. Demand is the most important piece of the supply and demand equation. Let me say that again, though, for the people in the back. Demand is the most important piece of the supply and demand equation. If there's no demand, the supply of trucks doesn't matter. If there's no demand, it doesn't matter how many trucks you have. It don't. The tender reject, they don't matter. The supply of trucks only affects the price and the rate. And I know y'all like this boy. I know I sound foreign right now because I'm not talking they talk. I'm talking my talk. So now we get to talking about price and rate. You like, whoa. That's important, right? Yeah, it is important. It is. I ain't gonna lie to you. It is important. And you're not wrong for thinking that the price is important or for you thinking just how important the price is. I disagree with that, but I understand why you feel that way. And let me tell you why I disagree with that and what separates me from everybody else. See, because I understand that the price is important just like you, but I understand that being able to identify the things that affect consumer spending is the most important thing in the industry. I'm gonna run that back because I know this talk is foreign to y'all. Y'all not used to this. I understand that price is important, but I understand that being able to identify the things that affect consumer spending is the most important thing in the industry. It's the most important thing in the industry for somebody that's running the business. If you can identify these things, then you can prepare for the market shifts. It's that easy. You clicked on the right video today. One of the biggest things that influence consumer spending is, guess what? I know y'all don't know. Because y'all don't do this. I do this. It's levels. One of the biggest influence on consumer spending, put it in the comments, what you think it is? I'm going to tell you. You ain't even got to do all that. I did the homework for you. I did the research for you. That's why I know I'm worth $2,500. It's inflation. I know. They not talking like that. They don't want you to know this because they want you to chase the miles. They don't want you to know this. It's inflation. What? What is he talking about? What does inflation have to do? Stay with me. Get your pen and paper out and take notes. When I'm gone, they gonna study my bones behind this. You need to know who controls inflation. I done already told you inflation is what influences consumer spending. I put you up on game. You didn't even look at it like that. Most of y'all just get in there, pre-trip the truck, drive the truck from point A to point B. Yeah, no idea why the rate's low and why fuel is high. You in the right spot. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Let's go. The Fed's control inflation. Did you know that? You do now. The higher the inflation rate, the greater the distance between working wages and the cost of living. The greater the distance, the less money consumers have to spend. We back to consumer spending. You see how I brought that full circle? Come on, man, run that back. I ain't done. I'm gonna keep going. The lower the inflation rate, the smaller the distance between working wages and the cost of living. The smaller the distance, the more money consumers have to spend. Simply put, people spend money when they feel comfortable and safe. Period. How do the Feds control inflation? I'm glad you asked. They control inflation by manipulating the interest rates. When inflation is too high, they typically raise inflation rates to slow the economy down and bring inflation down. So remember that what was it, like 5 trillion that got pumped into the economy during the pandemic? Well, that money wasn't accounted for. And that resulted in this, 5.5% inflation rate that we got right now. Now, why is that important to trucking? Come on, y'all taking notes, right? You see where I'm going with it? You don't see where I'm going with it. Let me take you there, though. I'm going to bring you with me. I'm handing out plates so everybody can eat. Everybody eats, B. Everybody eats. Gold and silver, I have none, but what I have, I give to you. I'm giving you this information. Man, come on. I hope y'all hear me, but are y'all listening? Why is it important for us to be aware of inflation and aware of interest rates in the trucking industry? I'm going to tell you why it's important. Because the feds, they got a benchmark of a 2% inflation rate for the U.S. Now, I just told you inflation is at 5.5%. I'm 5.5. I know they're going to get in the comments like, oh, it's 5.2. Whatever. Let's just say 5% for the sake of this video. And so, how they going to get it to 2%? How? They got to raise the interest rates. And the reason, let me sidebar. This is a side note. The reason I'm teaching you how to fish. The reason that the feds believe 2% is the magic number is because they believe that consumers can spend confidently at 2%. Now, I don't know. I don't know where they came up with this number. I don't know. Now, I'm just a truck driver. But it seems to me that if we had a benchmark of 2% for inflation, the pre-pandemic, then we shouldn't be applying that post-pandemic. But I think that's going to make it a little difficult to produce a thriving, stable economy post-pandemic. That's all I'm saying. I'm just a truck driver, though. You know what I mean? So, hey, whatever. Moving on. This the problem that we facing that affects trucking. And the whole U.S. is facing this problem, but I want to talk about it, how it specifically is affecting trucking. The problem is that in order for us to get to this 2% benchmark, they got to continue to raise interest rates until the unemployment gets somewhere between 4 to 6%. And right now, unemployment at like 3.8%. Yeah. Y'all didn't know that, did y'all? Y'all never thought about interest rates. Y'all never thought about consumer spending. Y'all never thought about why they raise them, why they lower them. Y'all never thought about balancing. Y'all just want to drive the truck. It's cool if you just a truck driver, but if you running a business, you need to know this. And they told me I wasn't worth $2,500. Come on, man. Stop playing with me, man. The reason that they do that to stabilize the economy is the higher the unemployment rate, the less consumers with available cash. It's that simple. Now, I don't see why. I don't understand this now. I just don't understand why they just won't raise the benchmark to say 3%. And we could probably do a lot better trying to get to 3% than we can from 5 to 2. Anyway, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? And the reason I say that is because I feel like them manipulating the interest rates, it only really affects the middle class, period. They the only ones that's really impacted by interest rates and unemployment. You know what I'm saying? Like, the rich people can afford it no matter which way it go, and the poor people get all type of government assistance and programs. But let me bring it back. My bad. Let me bring it back. Since I get carried away. Watch this though, because I'm gonna bring it back to trucking. So, the higher the interest rates, the more uncomfortable and unsafe people feel, and scared people don't spend money. Consumer spending is what controls trucking. Consumer spending. It's funny because the distance between the cost to own a truck and the pay to operate a truck continues to increase thus making it more expensive to run a truck daily. Let me say that again. The distance between the cost to own a truck and the pay to operate the truck continues to increase, thus making it more expensive to run a truck daily. They're not talking like this over there or over there, wherever they at. So this is something you need to know. You need to know this. You need to pay attention to oil prices. Why is oil prices important? The more I teach y'all, the dumber I get. I'm telling you, man. The price of oil is expected to continue to rise at the minimum until the end of the year because of the supply cuts by OPEC. What that means for people in the trucking industry. If it's going to continue to rise, and they saying anywhere between $95 to $100 a barrel in December, go back and look at what diesel prices was the last time oil was at $95 to $100 a barrel, and we talking about this at the end of December when the volume of freight decreases and it costs you more diesel to operate your truck in the colder months. Come on, pay attention. It's not what they say, it's what they don't say that you need to be paying attention to. It's levels. Now, the Feds just came out the other day, and that's why I waited to do this video, because I wanted to see what they were going to do with the interest rates. Now, honestly, they did exactly what I thought they would do with the interest rates, because I be doing my homework and I be doing my research. And I'm not surprised. I mean, we got Thanksgiving coming up, and we got Christmas coming up, and we got people that the student loans that are about to go back into, they're gonna have to make their payments. So the Feds knew if they raised the interest rates like right then, that the natives was gonna get restless. They knew that. They knew that. So let me tell you what else they also knew. They also knew that people was going to go out and had a family over that they really don't like for Thanksgiving and spend all this money cooking Thanksgiving. They knew that they was going to spend money for Black Friday. They knew that people was like, that people be feeling like they've been a bad parent all year. So come Christmas, they buy their kids all kind of stuff. They knew that. They knew the rich people was going to buy their kids stocks for Christmas. They knew that. The Feds know all this, right? They knew that the average consumer is going to go out and put themselves in debt around the holiday season, and they're going to have to wait on their tax refund to bring things back in balance. They knew it. Basically, they was like, all we got to do is be patient, and the average consumer is going to run out of money. They already knew this. The reality about this situation with the Feds and inflation, and we going to get off this because I'm sure y'all tired of hearing about it, but it's important that you understand it. The reality of it is, it's not a fair and pretty way to balance the economy. That don't exist at this point. And America is feeling the pain of inflation, but the US dollar getting stronger. It's like we in an interesting situation here in America. And the reason why the US dollar is getting stronger, you need to know this, is because it's costing people that's importing more to sell their goods in America. Now that was put in place by some people, for 3.5 years ago. So what that means is this is happening right along the Chinese New Year, where freight slows down during the Chinese New Year anyway, but imports are also slowing down from China. Pay attention. It's not what they say, it's what they don't say that you got to pay attention to, or you will never get ahead. Now let's talk about Let's talk about trucking when it comes down to some things that happen, which I consider to be pandemic corrections. Follow me on this. Tyson Foods, they closed 4 processing plants to lower their costs, which is what, 10% of their slaughter capacity. At the same time, Prime Inc. downsized their fleet. Then Knight Swift CEO, CFO took some pay cuts, which I consider to be damage control or a PR move to save the company $350K. Pandemic corrections. They doing damage control right now. Like they trying to bulletproof their balance sheets. Pay attention to what's happening. It's right there. Pay attention to even the Fed. The Feds who set the interest rates, they didn't have layoffs. C.H. Robinson, Coyote, Knight Swift, Convoy, GXO Logistics, Matheson Flight Extenders, DHL, FedEx, Truckstop.com, Ryder, Motive, U.S. Express, and I can't even count the brokerage that they all had layoffs this year. Pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening around you. Let's not forget about Yellow just throwing the towel in. I said all that to paint this picture. Because see, when I come over here, I want y'all to know what I'm paying attention to. I want y'all to know that I'm not just grabbing this out of thin air. I'm taking all this information, I'm looking down, I'm saying, I'm letting the information talk to me. The information speak to me. Let me tell you what the information says to me. Listen. You hear me, but are you listening? I done seen a lot of companies make moves to bulletproof their balance sheet lately. But it's a few companies that then stood out to me in the trucking space. And I think if we analyze their moves, we can stay in a position to call 911 and be in front of the ambulance. If we look at what they doing, we would know how we need to position ourselves to be able to capitalize off their movement. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to tell you what these 3 companies are doing, and then we going to analyze. Let's go. Now, it may surprise you when I talk about this company. It shouldn't, because if you understand trucking, you know where I'm coming from. If you don't understand trucking and you just out here playing, if you ain't got no passion for it, it's going to go over your head. It's okay, though. You can watch this video. I'm going to leave it up. You can watch this video as many times as you want to. First company I'm going to talk about is C.H. Robinson. You can't talk about trucking. You can't be a trucking analyst without looking at C.H. Robinson. I'm sorry. If anybody tell you that cheap, heavy freight, no, I know everything that you're going to say, but watch this, though. Watch this, though. I need you to think outside the box for a minute. Get outside the box. Come on, man. Walk with me. Walk with me. I promise you you safe. C.H. Robinson been around 118 years. Even though their stock is down 15% over the last year, they only missed earnings by 0.01 for 2 straight quarters. That's crazy. That's in this market, that's impressive. And they continue to have a positive balance sheet. You can't argue with the facts. Somebody over at C.H. Robinson know what they doing. Who it is, I don't know. Even though they laid people off, watch this. Even though they laid people off, they still open a 400,000 square foot facility in Laredo. Yeah. I know y'all might have missed it. Y'all might not have understood it when y'all seen it. Like, what is C.H. Robinson doing? That's what you got me for. What is C.H. Robinson doing in Laredo? Why would they do that? Hold on. I like C.H. Robinson leadership. They doing something right. Bottom line, when I first started trucking, I didn't have these reserve money everybody talking about you start with. How I got started is when I got my authority, I hooked up with C.H. Robinson, and every load that I booked, I would take half of the money up front for diesel. That's how I ran. And I had a budget of $40 a week that I would spend on the road. I came up through the trenches of trucking. The rates they were giving me, they weren't all that. They wasn't good rates, but I didn't know that at the time. But I ain't got nothing bad to say about C.H. Robinson. Sorry. I like their leadership right now. Let me get back on track. They realize, at least I think they realize, I don't know because I ain't talking to nobody at C.H. Robinson. They realize that the trade relationship with China is heading south. They see it. So they double down on what they know best, and that's warehousing. Now, y'all might not know this, but a lot of factories are set to open up in Mexico in 2024, and I think that's going to shift a lot of the port freight to the border, coming across the border. Why else would they invest all this money in Laredo? They already had facilities down in Laredo. So to build a new one, you tell me what's going. Another company we got to look at. Another company. Walmart. Walmart been in the trucking space for 53 years. Watch this. Last year, Walmart opened up a 1.1 million square foot facility in Joliet, Illinois. It wasn't a distribution center. Don't confuse the two. This is what they consider to be a fulfillment center. This year, they opened up a 2.2 million square foot facility in McCordsville, Indiana. And they plan to open up 2 more in Greencastle, PA, and possibly Texas. So, why did this catch my attention? I'll tell you why. Because of the timing. They opening up these facilities at a time when retail theft is on the rise. Not only that, but they stock have been doing well even on days when the market's been down. Them opening up these facilities let me know that they have shifted their focus to getting products to the consumer faster. I'm paying attention to what Walmart doing. They have chosen strategic locations for these 4 fulfillment centers, and they gonna need trucks to service them. Period. Another company that caught my attention that I'm gonna pay attention to, and this is how. Come on, man. I wish I could let y'all inside my brain here. J.B. Hunt. J.B. Hunt been around for 62 years. Now, a lot of people have mixed feelings about J.B. Hunt because of their dealings with deregulation of the trucking industry. Now, I wasn't in trucking back then, and honestly, if it wasn't for deregulation, then I wouldn't be in trucking right now. But from my research, the fatal flaw with the deregulation is that they modeled it after the railroad system and never addressed the problems that came from that. This is what I think. I could be wrong. Like I said, a lot of people mad at J.B. Hunt or whatever, but I don't care how you feel about them. Listen to this. No matter how you feel about them, they were the first company to significantly reduce transit time when they started double stacking rail cars, and that catapulted the trucking industry. Now, I say all that to say this. J.B. Hunt recently bought the brokerage operations of BNSF Logistics. Yeah, they did. Now, this kind of surprised me. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't see this one coming because them two companies, they've been partners for like 30 years. So it makes me think that J.B. Hunt was in some type of trouble and they had to make a move to satisfy the shareholders because they stock not doing good right now. So I'm like, did they just buy this to try to do something or whatever? But I honestly feel like J.B. Hunt is C.H. Robinson's biggest competitor in the U.S. So I got to look at the competition. I like C.H. Robinson. I got to look at the competition. So let me put all this together for you. I know you like, man, you all over the place. Not really. You ain't there yet, but I'm trying. It's levels. I'm gonna get you there. Trust me, I'm gonna get you there. I'm gonna put it all together for you. After doing my homework and my research, this is what I see. Another fourth quarter, like we had in 2022, and another first quarter, like we had in 2023, as far as the volumes. I'm talking about the volumes here. Now, the price of oil is going to play a significant role in the diesel prices, which going to determine profit margins. It's likely we'll see an increase in rates, but only by the amount of the fuel surcharge. Real talk. The next 5 months are going to be very challenging, even for those with direct shippers. The supply chain still has unresolved issues. The produce season was a no-show. People are not spending money, and the winter is fast approaching, which means transit times will increase, so chasing miles going to be even more challenging. I don't see things beginning to turn around into the second quarter of next year, so I'm saying March. Lucky for us, it's an election year. If you can hold on to your equipment and company until March, I think you're going to be able to rebound. The trucking industry usually does well during election year. Wait a minute, I think I forgot one. I forgot. Back to Laredo. Do I got this on here? Back to Laredo. I forgot something about Laredo. I got to go back to Laredo real quick. My apology. RXO, which is the new brokerage company, XPO, has also opened up a facility down in Laredo, Texas. And look it up. Look it up. I paid attention to that. I factored that into all this. So, back to putting the pieces together for you. Walmart has already let us know that they expect an increase in volume. If you know any brokers who deal with Walmart loads, you want to reach out to them starting now. You want to establish a rapport with them starting now. I ain't telling you run the cheapest freight they got or whatever. I'm telling you to build a relationship with them with whatever your business model allows you to do. C.H. Robinson gave us the biggest hint we could ever have about where the freight is going to be coming from in the future. And that's by letting us know that they're shifting their focus to the border. Honestly, and I'm just being honest with y'all, I don't know what J.B. Hunt is telling us by buying BNSF, the logistics part of BNSF. But I do know that J.B. Hunt been in rail long enough to know what they doing. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't have an angle on that. But I do think it's worth paying attention to. I definitely think it's worth paying attention to. So what you got to remember is, until the feds start lowering the interest rate, which should be in March, trucking is going to continue to be in a dire state, or better yet, a recession. I say it. We in a recession right now as far as trucking is concerned. And hopefully the information that I gave you in this video will help you understand exactly what's going on in trucking. And I believe that if you an informed person can make informed decisions about moving forward in trucking. I help people get their CDL. A lot of people said the last one video I did, I didn't want nobody to enter. How you gonna say that when I help people get their CDLs? CDL license. People hate when I say CDL. CDL license. I help people get their own authority. I help people that have struggling trucking companies. I help them turn their companies around. I connect people with brokers that I'm cool with, that have good freight in the area that they're in. Please do your research. Do your homework on me before you tell me that I'm not worth $2,500 to come on your show and to give the information that I have up here. It's no whiteboard, no fancy graphs, none of that. It's all up here because I sit down, I do the research, I analyze it. When I'm gone, they gonna study my bones. Remember, it's levels. I'm up here.
Been through a lot of pain in my life, and I pray the Lord take it all away.